ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Classic Wrestling Series, episode 116. So, after last week's entertaining episode of the CWS, I decided that I would involve Ryan one more time and ask him to pick between three numbers, 6, 16 and 23. And well, he picked 23, so ladies and gentlemen, it is July 26th, 1998. We are in Selland Arena in Fresno, California. 9,855 fans watched Fully Loaded 1998. This is the 23rd In Your House pay-per-view, and well, we kicked it off pretty weirdly. So we had Sable and Jerry Lawler talking about this bikini contest that's happening between herself and Jacqueline later on tonight. Hello. And our first matchup is already in the ring. It is Jarrett versus Val Venus. And weirdly, we have Southern Justice and Tennessee Lee at the ring apron. And we've got the world's greatest line. He's a genuine stud. He's the world's greatest lover. How the fuck would Tennessee Lee know that unless Jarrett's told him or he's seen it? Pretty fucking creepy. But then, ladies and gentlemen, Kane came out. So, storyline going into this, ladies and gentlemen, is Val Venus kind of, well, had with Yamayuchi-san's wife. And we would get the infamous Choppy Your PP segment. I think it was after this show. It was on the Raw after this show, I believe, or it could be the Raw after. Which is pretty funny. And at the same time, yeah, it was one of the more weirder things that they did in WWF Raw. Not gonna lie. But ladies and gentlemen, again, the match is going on now. We have our main event, the tag team title match between Kane and Mankind, taking on Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin. How will they coexist? Well, we'll find out in our main event, guys. So, let's not waste any more time and carry on watching this match and see how it goes. So, we just had Val Venus versus Jeff Jarrett. This was an entertaining matchup, I gotta admit. Quick and to the point, Val Venus wins. He would be undefeated. This is the Raw. The Raw after is when Choppy Your PP happens. Also, I'm gonna give a shout out to Press Off Wrestling, I want to say. Yes, Rated R for Wrestling. He actually does a pretty good video. He actually does a very interesting video on this. I will leave it here for you guys in the annotation here, for you guys to check it out if you want to. Very entertaining, to be fair, guys. Please go and give them a watch if you haven't seen it already. Goes into a little bit of depth about it. Not enough to understand which Raw this is, but I think it is pretty much the Raw after Fully Loaded 1998. So, with that all being said, guys, let's not waste any more time and get to our next matchup. So, just had D'Lo Brown versus X-Pac. So, this is a non-title match because D'Lo Brown won the European Championship from Triple H on the last episode of Raw before this show. So, it was signed as a non-title. Very entertaining, actually. D'Lo's always been impressive, I thought. Beautiful moonsault from him. Sky High gets the win for him. Bit of interference from Godfather, but you know what you're going to be able to do about that, guys. But again, this was fun, it was entertaining, and it was quick. So, we go backstage to WWF.com, where the Undertaker has not arrived. He's not here yet. We'll see what happens with that. He will be here for the main event, hopefully. But next up, guys, we have got Too Cold Scorpio and Farouk in a match. In a tag team match, no less. So, let's find out what their opponents are in the match. So, we just had Farouk and Too Cold Scorpio taking on Bradshaw and Terry Funk. Terry Funk would make his retirement and he would stay retired. Yeah, this is like his 18th retirement so far in the business. Obviously I kid. But yes, Terry Funk would retire, leave WWF for a few weeks, just to recharge his batteries, just to get a bit more seasoned and a bit more rested, to be honest with you guys. This was weird seeing Bradshaw and Farouk on opposite teams because most people remember them as the Acolytes and the APA. But again, this was a kind of entertaining matchup. You had two brawlers in Bradshaw and Farouk. You had the hardcore guy in Terry Funk, and you had the high flyer in Two Cold Scorpio. This match worked to a point. Bit weird seeing Terry Funk and Two Cold Scorpio going at it, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, beautiful 450 splash from Two Cold Scorpio, there we go, on Terry Funk to get the win for Scorpio and Farouk. They remain undefeated. But then Bradshaw turns heel, attacks all three guys, walks out. So this is the start of his heel turn. Still wearing the Blackjack Mulligan attire that he would have on. It is also weird to see that this guy would also turn into JBL and be WWE champion. I've said that before. It is very weird to see that, guys. So we will find out what our next segment is and our next matchup is. So we just had Vader versus Mark Henry, and I'm not gonna lie, this match was not good. Two big men, and it sucked. Mark Henry is still a little bit unseasoned, obviously. Couple botches in the match, missed times. It wasn't entertaining, but Mark Henry does get the win with the World's Strongest Slam. But again, just not good. But now, guys, following up with the Undertaker's disappearance, we got Mankind and Kane with Paul Bearer in the ring talking about what's going down. So let's see this and then get to our next matchup. So basically they're just like, Undertaker's not going to show up and we're going to beat Austin's ass. New Age Outlaws come out and basically challenge Kane and Mankind for the tag team titles tomorrow night Raw. Big brawl ensures, and now we have DOA versus LOD. Oh goody, Legion of Doom versus Disciples of Apocalypse. Hooray! Let's do this. So we just had LOD 2000 versus Disciples of Apocalypse. This was not good. I was not a fan of this. Obviously we have the Nazi brothers in the ring. It was not good. I'm sorry. This should have been more, but it just wasn't. Paul Ellering was with Disciples of Apocalypse, but it was just a nothing match. I mean, I wasn't entertained by this. It was just a boring match, and then one of the brothers got in the ring because they're twins, pulling the twin magic before the Bella twins did, and just DDT'd, I think it was Hawk, to get the win. That was it, guys. I'm sorry, it wasn't entertaining. But we do have the House Den match between Owen Hart and Ken Shamrock. That's looking forward to that. Which will lead into the Lions Den match at SummerSlam. But now we have Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson, Joe Briscoe, and Sergeant Slaughter coming out. Oh goody. Let's see what these guys have to say. So we just had Vince talk about how it's going to be a replacement for the main event, and it's the Brooklyn Brawler. Anyway, to the dungeon match. This was, I gotta admit, this was entertaining to a degree. Obviously it's submissions only, but they do have to throw in some wrestling based stuff in there as well. But I kind of liked it. I thought this could have been, if this was pure wrestling technique and pure wrestling with submissions, I think this would have been a hell of a lot better personally. But they've got to make it kind of entertaining for the crowd. But still, it worked. Owen Hart would hit Shamrock with a dumbbell to get the submission win after Shamrock was knocked out. He just picked him up and just made him tap out. Again, this would lead into the Lions Den match at SummerSlam, which again I believe was based on the Octagon, but you know, you can call it the Octagon to be fair. So next up, guys, we have got Triple H versus The Rock. If I recall, these guys would face off at SummerSlam in a ladder match. So let's watch this match and see how well it goes. So we just had Triple H versus The Rock in a 30-minute 2 out of 3 falls matchup to decide who would become the Intercontinental Champion. This is a entertaining matchup, I have to admit. Rock gets the first fall after interference. Triple H gets the second fall with interference, and then it's deemed a tie at the end and a draw. Basically, DX and Nation of Domination come out and basically just try and help their partners, their leaders, win. This was fun. It was entertaining. The crowd booed the decision because Hebner basically stopped. Like, he was like, no, it's time over with like 2 seconds to spare. You can easily count 1, 2, and then have the bell ring. But he basically just says it's over, which is upsetting because I feel like maybe, do the 1 or 2 and then halfway through have the bell ring. But it's timing issues with that, to be fair. Again, this would lead into the ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam, which, if I recall, was a decent match, actually. Oh, but then, I mentioned it at the top of the show. It's time for the Bikini Match. Oh, God. To be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to skip this because I'm not interested. And I'm not fussed. It's one of those things, it's like, oh, this is bullshit. So, at the end of it, basically Sable wins by revealing too much, by taking off the top and whatever. So, oh my god, Undertaker's arrived. Supplies. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm not even going to cover this. I basically just gave away what happened, during the match. So, let's just get to our main event, which is the tag team title match, Undertaker and Stormcloak Steve Austin versus Kane and Mankind. So, before the match even begins, we have Dustin Rhodes coming out to basically say a prayer to the fans' souls. This was during his Christian gimmick before he turned back into Goldust before Mania. Again, the doo-doo contest happens, whatever. It's the more infamous moment where Sable has the handprints on her boobies. Yeah, so the fans obviously are like, yay, she wins! Who the fuck cares? I really don't, personally. It's one of those things where it's like, you can't really defend this in 2022. It fucking sucked. So, with that being said, guys, let's just get to our main event, like I said. So we just had our main event, the tag team title match between Austin and Taker versus Kane and Mankind, and my god, this was okay. Don't get me wrong, I mean, for 4 of the biggest stars in WWE at this time, it was good, but it feels like they're building up to Highway to Hell between Austin and Taker, which is fair game. I don't understand why the world title wasn't on the line. I will never agree with that. The world title should be defended at every pay-per-view. But this was entertaining. It was fun. Story going into it was Austin basically just getting his ass kicked by both Mankind and Kane. Taker not basically defending him, and then coming in, winning the belts, and walking off with them. So it was entertaining to that point. I mean, again, it was a fun matchup, but it's weird that it just didn't click for me for some stupid reason, and that's really sad to say because I really was enjoying this match, but then it didn't click. I think it was when Undertaker came in, it just went a bit. It went one way instead of the other. Tombstone gets the win for Taker, I think I said, but they're building up for SummerSlam. Why put the belts on Austin and Taker? To build up more tension? Yeah, I feel like they would lose them to the New Age Outlaws next night on Raw. I could be wrong on that one. But again, build up for SummerSlam was good, but at the same time it's like, what the flip, Gordon? So, ladies and gentlemen, what did I think of the show overall? Not the best show, but it was decent. I mean, for the first fully loaded, it was okay. But with that all being said, it was just, there wasn't really anything interesting on the card for the 2 out of 3 falls match between Rock and Hunter. You can pretty much skip this pay-per-view if you haven't watched it before, bar the 2 out of 3 falls match, because that was at least entertaining, bar the run-ins. But with that being said, guys, thank you very much for watching episode 116 of the Classic Wrestling series. I will be here later on today for the AEW Dynamite review, and then back here on Saturday for Elimination Chamber. Yay! TTFN, guys. That's all for now.